Hi guys. So today's video is going to be a list of some popular books that I read this past year and kind of just my overall thoughts about them. There are a few very popular books that I have already talked about either in a favorites video or my most disappointing books of the year video, so for the sake of not repeating myself, I'm not going to include those books, but I will have all of those videos linked in the description bar down below if you want to know books I loved and books that I didn't love. That does obviously kind of give you a clue that these books were neither loved or hated or disappointing to any extreme, but they are books that I think a lot of people would really enjoy, and so I want to kind of talk about them a little bit, and then also if you guys would like in the comment section down below, you can let me know your thoughts on them. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the only book on this list that I didn't actually finish, and it is shameful that I didn't finish it because it's absurdly short, but that would be Every Hearted Doorway. The premise of Every Hearted Doorway is that we follow these children or young individuals who have gone to magical places, kind of like Narnia, and then when they come back, they don't know how to cope. I think there are a lot of bits in this story that are supposed to sort of be commentary on our modern world, and for me they were a little on the nose. Whether I agree with what the author is trying to say or not, it ends up feeling like I'm being taken out of the story to be taught a lesson rather than feeling engaged in what's actually happening. That is of course not to say that everybody is going to feel that way, so this book is popular for a reason, and if you haven't picked it up but it sounds interesting to you, of course you should check it out. The next book on this list would be Cruel Prince by Holly Black. In Cruel Prince, we follow our main female protagonist named Jude, and she is a human who was taken to a fae world, and in this fae world, everything is very twisted, the relationships are quite morbid, and none of the relationships are relationships that anybody should want to emulate. Because Jude is a human, she is very much looked down upon by the fae, but she does have one advantage when it comes to all of their political maneuverings, and that would be the fact that Jude can lie and fae cannot. I am always up for some good political intrigue or intrigue of some sort, and I think that there was a good amount of this in the latter half of the book. I think the first half of the book definitely took a while to set this up. The first half is very much going through Jude's struggle being a human and looked down upon in this different society. Jude is also a character that I don't know necessarily that I am actively rooting for her, but I am interested in her story. The next book on the list is probably the most popular book from this last year that I read, and that would be Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. The story of this book is that we follow this young girl whose mother was murdered years ago when she was very young because she had magic, and anybody who had magic was killed, and now we are discovering that magic may still indeed exist. I enjoyed this book. I didn't love it. I thought it was written extremely well, and I thought there were moments in the book that were very powerful, and I can of course see why this book is so meaningful for so many people. But there were a couple of elements about this book that I am interested in picking up the next one, but Zaylee for me is not that likable of a character. I didn't love her. I love one of the other characters, Amari, a lot. And then without giving away any spoilers, there is a romance in the story that I did not care for. I not only didn't care for the character that the romance involved, but I thought the romance itself was very insta-love-y, and also I don't mind insta-love if the characters are nice. I don't like insta-love when the characters are terrible. The last very, very popular series that I read the first 3 of that are currently out would be the Ember in the Ashes series by Saba Tahir. These books follow a couple of main characters. In the first one, we start off with 2, Laya and Elias, and Laya is a part of an oppressed group of people, and right from the start, she is on the run, and she ends up going into disguise as a slave to try and learn more information from the place that Elias is in. Elias is training to become a very lethal soldier, and within this story we get those 2 perspectives in the first one, and then in the next 2 we get another main perspective in the character of Helene. I found these books to be extremely entertaining, and I think the writing style is one that is very, very engaging. It's first person present tense, which makes everything feel very gripping. You feel like you are experiencing things as the characters are experiencing things, and it is a very character-driven story. But a fault of that writing style, or at least one that I feel a lot of books in that writing style can fall into, is it makes it very, very difficult to have a good amount of world building, and for a lot of people, that's no big deal. They like characters, they want to follow the characters, and especially because young adult books seem to lean on the less into world building side. It was probably an intentional choice by Saba Tahir, but for my personal taste, I would have liked a little more world building. I think it makes it tough for me too because the world seems very interesting. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it is inspired by Rome, and I would have loved to have gotten way more in depth about that world and the culture, and we somewhat seem to be on surface level. We know just enough to where we understand why the characters' lives are the way they are, but I would have liked to have known a little bit more. And that's not to say, of course, that the book is bad or that this series is bad. It's just there are elements with the world building that make it a tiny bit less to my liking. Those are the popular books this year that I read that I was kind of in between on for the most part. I would love to know what popular books you guys read, and did you love them? Did you think they were worth the hype, or were there some that you read and you just really weren't into? Like I said at the beginning, there were some very popular books that I picked up this year that I didn't mention here because I either loved them enough to talk about them in a favorites video, or I didn't love them and thought they were a little disappointing. So I will link those 3 videos because I have split the favorites into YA and adult. I'll link those 3 videos in the description bar down below. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget I do have a giveaway going on right now for those of you who donate to the charity Save the Children. I have the link in the description bar down below. You can win $20 worth of books. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.